Going above would be accelerating the anger. So she's bringing frustration, whether it was something dumb I did or was it something outside of us. Going above is she's now bringing that to me, and I'm realizing, because this is the man thing that I had to realize, is that oftentimes when she brings emotions to me, they're not directed at me.
Hello, Hill Squad. Welcome back. It's going to be a great day. You know why? Because we're going to make it a great day. I'm so excited. We have a really fun show for you guys today. We have brought back two of our favorite new friends who were on the show recently. Emily Ford, who was on along with her fiance, Jake Havron. So both of them are here, and both of their journeys individually as transformational speakers are quite inspiring, to say the least, but them doing it together is something that I really loved, and I'm excited to chat with them as somebody who's worked with their husband forever. Whether they're traveling internationally to lead events in business and personal development, to both consulting and leading company organizations on sales and leadership, we are very excited to chat with Emily and Jake all about working together, relationships, planning weddings in like a month, being chill about it, and then also growth. And I love that you had that conversation with Jake about, hey, I'm going to be constantly growing. Are you on the same page? Because it's not going to work otherwise. Yeah. Now, Kevin and I have been together since I was 19, so I didn't know anything about that back then. But there were always those moments where it was like, are we going to go together? Oh, okay, we did it. And I remember when I first went to Tony Robbins, he was like, shit, I got to get on this train or I'm going to get left behind in a sense, or we're not going to be on the same page. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into all of this. So we do have Jake and Emily, but we also have Kevin Undergaro with the pink laptop at the desk.
We love that pink.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I never lose it this way.
You never lose it because it's pink?
Well, things that I have that are black just blend into stuff. So I always lose phones. I lose, so I always know it's mine.
So you chose it to be pink?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Oh,
that's cute.
I like it.
okay.
I love that.
I didn't know how that ended up
Hey,
happening.
listen, a little consumer talk. You got to get with the little rubber cover.
She has a pink keyboard.
It protects the keyboard, but also nice grip on the fingers.
I don't like that. I like a little slip.
You like a little slip. Well, this is, this is great. This is why we're all different.
Yeah,
This is
we're
how
yin and
relationships
yang.
work.
Yes.
You know, not everyone's the exact same.
So, Emily, I really loved our chat on the last episode. And then as we kind of got to know you guys a little bit before and after, we were like, wait, we should do something on relationships. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about, because I know in the last episode you talked about how you were pushing Jake away. And now here you guys are, soon to be married. What was that conversation like when you said to him, I'm going to be growing constantly? I'm so curious how you brought it up and how it was received.
Yeah. Well, I pushed him away because I had a bad series of previous relationships starting from childhood. So no healthy modeling of what a good marriage was, even marriage in general. It was like divorce was all in my family. And then
your dad had left really young,
yes,
right?
And then, I actually was married previously very, very young. It didn't work out. The whole like my whole mindset around it was just bad. I wanted it deep down to have a beautiful relationship, but I had so much work I needed to do. And so in the process of doing the work is when I realized I actually really want a man that can lead me, and here's what a healthy relationship looks like. And I started to really go to work on that. And so a month before I met Jake, I wrote out, I want this in a guy. And I went through attributes that I wanted, characteristics. And then when I actually met him, he swept me off my feet. But I was like, am I actually ready for this? And
I wonder, having written it out, when you met him, did you feel familiar because you had already created him in your mind in a sense?
Yeah, but it was like my body knew before my mind did.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like this wave came over me when I met him. Like really truly. And it helped that he was like in his peak state. He was going to get ready to go speak on stage, and I was very used to being in the power chick role, and I longed to have a man that was in that role, right? But then when he tried to express his feelings or love for me, I was very guarded. And even the first time we hugged, I gave him like a half hug, truly, like, because I was used to, like, or I am, being in a man's world, speaking with men, being in business with men.
Yeah.
So I'm always I'm guarded. You have to be, right? And then we began our journey together. And that's when I realized I had some things I needed to work on. So here I was like, I want a man who can lead. And then he would show up at my apartment with roses, and he's like, we're going here tonight. And I'm like, we're going where? I didn't plan it. Like, what?
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
But this is what I wanted, but I started to get it. And I was like, no, you didn't tell me that. And because the control freak, I was so used to being a control freak.
Well, also, that's your familiar state, right? So you're now in unfamiliar territory where someone's doing all these things. Even though you want it, you're not familiar with it. So it's like hard.
Can we come back to when I want to know some of the work you did, because I have a lot of friends who are in the state you were in previously, where they're looking for somebody, can't seem to find them. What's some of the work that they can do that you did or that you could share?
Yeah. Well, first it was going to Tony Robbins UPW. And that's where I started to realize, like, holy shit, I got a lot of stuff here, you know, like, and it's the understanding and the awareness of how I was wired and really what I wasn't allowing in. And I think it's like what's absent is typically awareness, right? And so the first thing was like, oh my goodness, I don't have a healthy relationship with men. We need to heal that, figure that out. Why is that? Okay, so the awareness factor. And then for me, it's like what it means to be like a godly woman, a loving woman. You know, I think I had been so independent and kind of raised by a single mom. So I was programmed from a young age of like, men hurt you, you know, make your own money, don't rely on men. And yeah, there's parts of these things that are true, but
great,
but it was really programmed, like extreme. And so I never wanted to fully let love in. So I had to look at why won't I fully let love in? So that was done through therapy, through going to church, and just it worked for me because I met my match. Like he, you know, and
there was therapy between both of us.
Yeah.
Us coming together and being growth minded, and me having my own ways of going through things. We got to almost have therapy with each other. Doesn't mean I was your therapist or you were mine. That's a bad way of doing it. But we got to hold that space, and yeah, there was definitely a lot of growing though, and we could definitely go into more detail.
Did you understand what was happening? Because it sounds like even in the last episode we were talking, it felt like you were just being patient with her because you were like, okay, I kind of see what's happening here.
Great. So we all have this story coming up where she, January 1st, 2020, wrote this out, but a month before that, December 5th, I was at Date with Destiny for my first time with Tony. And that's where I really understood, because I was single. I was wanting to wait for the right one, but I was struggling with my own wanting to be loved. But then when I would get in a relationship and I knew it wasn't legit or it was the one, I would try to sabotage it or just get away from it. And so I was really in this place where I wanted this woman that I didn't know existed, Emily. And Tony really helped me understand the difference between the masculine and feminine, but also mature, immature. And I was living in immature masculine in relationships, which is controlling, deceptive, like just basically creating chaos because I wasn't able to stand as that true firm, that true pillar. And so when I learned what the feminine is all about, I was like, okay. I was like, the feminine is this boundless energy. She is an ocean. You cannot control it. Like, you can guide it, but if you try to control it, you are now being immature in this. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't have a woman to practice that, but it was in my subconscious. And so when I met her, and we went to the moon, really quick, and which was amazing. And I'll tell you what, she dropped the L-bomb on me before I dropped it, and that was a thing I would never do.
My soul just felt so at peace with you. It felt stable. I'm gonna cry.
This was in the first week, by the way.
You're gonna make me cry. I just felt really cared for and like Thank
you.
Yeah.
But me being the younger one, and I love you, I was like, I don't want to be this young buck, because I knew that, and she didn't know my age.
You guys have an age difference?
8 years.
So 8 year difference.
I'm 8
but he didn't tell me initially, thank God. but for real, but I would go on dates in LA with guys, like, because everyone's like, marry an old man, or like, and I would go on dates and I was like, I cannot, right? But then when I met you, it's like I had no idea how old you were. Like
the whole interaction, how we met, is another tangent. It was such a divine timing, because she didn't know who I am. She didn't know my age. She didn't get to put her walls up saying, I did my research. She was just coming to an event that she got invited to last minute, which was me speaking on stage in my peak state, which allowed her to see, without those walls up, like, whoa, there's someone else that could do what I do, and I'm not the one that has to always run the show. But fast forward, so everything is going great in my eyes, like, oh my gosh, I'm with the woman of my dreams. This is the most special thing ever, and I'm like, this is happening for me. And then a few weeks go in, and we literally have the most amazing conversations, and I get a FaceTime one night, and I was living in Dana Point, she was up in Santa Monica. I get a FaceTime, and it's her, like, just kind of distraught. And I'm like, what's going on? And then the tears start coming, and she's like, I don't know if we could do this. And she's like, I'm over here, and the man brain was like, just earlier was the most amazing conversations, but I don't know what's going on internally with her, and that's what was happening. She's like, I don't know if we could do this, and she was trying to end the relationship, and I'm over here starting to now get emotional, because I'm like, holy crap, like, what did I do? That's what the man usually thinks. What did I do? What did I fail on?
That's what anybody would think.
And in that moment, what was the difference is what I took from Date with Destiny came in this moment, and also from other teachings and learnings, is that the mature masculine, Jake, if you're going to stand and be this pillar for her, the visual is like, I'm this unshakable pillar, is that if the feminine, what you're going to flow around and do your thing, but the feminine always likes to test and create tension, because that's just how it works.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I saw this as a test, because before I'd be like, she's out of her head, I don't know, this just might not work, and I would have retreated, which is me just being immature, and I would have never got what I was meant to call to be, is in a beautiful relationship. So in my mind, I already knew there was no plan B, so I had to verbally tell her, I was like, there's no other way. Like, we're gonna find this out. We're gonna, like, I don't see us not being together. Like, it's evident we're meant to be together. But I had to be that unshakable pillar. So when she's testing me and trying to push away or see if I'm gonna fall over, if I would have fell over or retreated, that's when she would have retreated back into herself, saying, "See, I can't rely on a man.
I'm not safe.
Yeah,
I'm not safe. I can't lay on someone and truly be feminine. So I have to put up my own walls and be my own pillar."
Ooh. And honey, are you hearing this? Is this like crazy?
But I would have never understood that if I didn't learn the works from John Gray, or, read The Way of Superior Man, which, is just it's an older book, but there's those principles, and then Tony Robbins, all these collectives, because a woman like her, you don't know how to handle, like, even Maria and Kevin, I'm sure you've had similar situations. Like, she's so powerful, but her core is feminine. So I had to realize that, and realize that feminine wants to come out, but that feminine's going to test to see if it could truly be safe by trying to push me over. And if I don't get pushed over, then that's when she's now even more loving. So after that, probably took a day or two, I don't know exactly, but our relationship was even stronger, and we felt more connected, and we felt more loved. But guess what? Like, if there's men listening right now, like, the test will come again, and it's come many times. So that was.
What did you do to be the unshakable pillar?
I didn't back down.
Okay.
I didn't try to be controlling, right? So this is where some people try to get angry. So anger, is an immature masculine energy. And so I didn't get angry at her. I didn't try to manipulate or anything like that. I was just standing my ground, hearing her, even though I was literally tears in my eyes, and I'm thinking, what the F is going on?
Yeah.
but I had to tell her, not just for verbally, but also just through the way my posture was I'm not going anywhere. We're going to find this out. And there is no plan B for us. And I think that was the sign for her that she can see that I'm not leaving, even though if something's not going right.
Wow. I've never heard anybody talk about masculine and feminine like that. And I've been a date with Destiny, but it was such an intense, 5 days.
Gosh. Yeah.
I was like fried.
Yeah.
And I've gone back to UPW many times.
Yeah.
I'm terrified to go back to Date with Destiny because it was just so much.
Yeah.
But
Have you and Kevin been there together?
never been there together.
Oh,
no.
I couldn't imagine like going as a couple.
With
Yeah.
a new baby.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think when you hear all that, Kev?
Can I weigh in?
Yes. That's what I'm going to you.
Well,
Pink laptop man.
yeah, it's a lot to process, and I think hearing from Jake, when I've been at my best for you, I've been that way, and when I haven't been at my best, I haven't been, because you don't see. I wrote this down. You don't see the woman as an ocean, which you can't control the ocean. You can't control the sea. It's a powerful, probably one of the most powerful forces on earth, but you can help guide it. And I think that's just a great
Or flow
way.
with us.
Yeah.
Well, that's the helping to guide it. Yeah. You don't want to flow it out into the abyss either, right? So there's a partnership. You want to work together. But yeah, I think that's, and I've heard that before from other people where they've said, I've heard other women say, I forget who the influencer was, but she was freaking out at the house, and she just called her partner and said, I'm just at my wit's end, and he drove home and just hugged her. And it was like, it wasn't, whatever the issue wasn't the important thing. It was the fact that he just came, he didn't question, he didn't minimize,
Yes.
he didn't,
Yeah.
So, and I know,
Sometimes we don't need solutions.
We don't.
We get like,
well, that's my problem.
yes,
It's
sometimes
like,
Kevin just launches
Yeah.
into solutions. I'm
I
like, I just
gotta
need to be
fix
hugged
yeah.
and
All right, what
let
do I
me
got to
cry.
do? Who do I have to kill? Let's do it.
This is what happened the other day. I was like, I need to be heard. I need to go on a walk. Can we talk? And so we go on this walk, and I just want to be heard. I
Yeah.
just need to process my own thoughts. And he's over here like, well, here's what we're going to do. And and I was
That was before.
yeah, and
we've
I'm
had
like,
to learn.
and I'm like, are you listening? Like, I just want to,
Well, it's an instinct, and again, just like some of the things you learned in your childhood, which made you great.
Yeah.
Don't depend on a man. Be financially independent. All that was great. It's just any give taken to extreme becomes catastrophic. So it was great. So at the same time, you need us to be like, I'll fix this. Like, I got this. So there's a balance.
And we need to just be angry and cry and
Yes,
let it
I
out.
get it. No,
and
no,
be
I get
completely
it.
like sometimes I'm like,
it's a-
just let me be inappropriate right now.
Uh-huh.
Let me say
It's a
all the
balance.
worst things.
Oh my
Let me
God.
just be angry.
I do this
I just
too.
gotta let it out. Even
Yes.
if none of it makes sense and if it's not,
same.
it's just
I
gotta
think,
come out.
Jake,
Yeah.
you're probably more involved than me, because there's times I'm like that with you.
Yeah.
Oh
The
my
Italian in me
goodness.
just wants to rant and rave. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I do it. I can go there.
Oh my
Well, a practice that we've implemented, because I've learned the hard way on that, and I hope it's evident I'm not the only one. We want to fix things, and not women don't always want that, and it's easier said than done. But when we go on our walks now, which she's been so good with saying that we need to go on these daily walks so we can discuss.
The walks are amazing.
We love
Yeah.
them.
It's
Best.
such a good flow.
Motion equals emotion.
Yeah.
That's right. Energy,
Also, but
energy,
even on a
motion.
walk, you're walking, even if you have a tense conversation with anybody, could be a boss, an employer, even if it's just a meeting, the meeting's better over a walk because you're shoulder to shoulder, not facing each other in a standoff.
Yeah.
It's
I
nice,
did that with a
and
boss
you're
once. I asked
moving.
him to go for a walk. 'cause I had
Yeah,
thought was
and
something
everyone
that
relaxes.
I knew I was going to like cry or
Drops their guard, and it's like,
and
yeah.
it was so weirded out.
But let's have this exchange. Like,
Yeah.
come on, let's go for a walk.
That's so
you know,
good.
So in those walks, now as the man, I ask, especially if she's like, I got to talk, so much things happened today. We'll get to that point. I say, is this a type of conversation where you want me to bring solution or more of a listen here?
Yeah, he does this.
Brilliant.
and I have to literally ask this, and there might be a mix.
I
of
might get
both.
mad at you for that
Yeah.
though. I might get mad
Well, I have-
because you might be making me feel like a little shitty for wanting what I really want.
Well,
It's just a
I'll
dump.
tell you something. I have a friend, a staff member / more of a friend.
At first I thought it was brilliant. Then I'm like, You're being a little condescending, I think.
Well, Maria,
There's always an underlying tone for you, isn't there?
listen, I just think you can't, sometimes you just can't win in those situations. So you just have to be silent. But I know Roxy.
Oh, really?
Well, Roxy,
Here we go, guys.
Roxy, who works for us and is one of my close friends. I've known her now for, I don't know, 13, 14 years, since she was 18. And she warns people, do not call Kevin if you don't want the solutions, if you don't want the fixes. Don't call him. If you want
he's
someone
not
to
the guy for
bitch
that.
to, you have other people. So I know with Roxy, I have said that, okay, do you just want me to listen or do you want me to take action? But just know, I don't have a lot of time with everything on my plate. You have other people in your life that can do that for you. And she doesn't like hearing that. That's my point. So I don't know how,
And I could relate with you on that.
So-
And you're exponentially more in marriage than I've ever been. So I only can speak from my own little few years with Emily. And in business relationships, people will know that they are not here to discuss, to expand on so many things. But I've learned to have to sacrifice for Emily because she is your partner in that sense. And
But business, they don't know anymore. The
Business.
new generation doesn't know anymore. Though.
Yeah.
And we have to all, at the old guard, has to get with that. Like, they just don't get that. In my experience with the millennials, Gen Z, they don't get it because it's only always been personal. Everything's been done in their best interests.
Yeah.
And no, I know, but listen, it's just the way it is. It's not their fault. It's how they've been. It's the parents and whoever did it. But the thing is, like, you have to come at. So I have to make it personal, or it just doesn't work. That's why they've went with me for so long. But you're right.
not
It's
go
gonna
down
be,
that rabbit hole,
but it's
but
gonna
here's
be
what I think
different.
is
It's gonna be
important.
obviously it's gonna be different with your lover. Your
I think
mate.
here's and Emily, you tell me what you think. I think, guys, if you see us and we are coming unglued, just know there's no solution needed right now.
Yeah, I think it's a walk
Because
or a
if
hug.
we're unglued,
Yeah.
it's the walk, it's the hug, it's I got you, we'll get through this.
100%.
And then maybe solutions like tomorrow.
Yeah.
But right now, if we're unglued and we're
Yeah.
no
100%. Just it's so true.
because it happens.
It does. Just
Shit builds up.
just love me, let me explode. Like, let's just don't try to
Men
solve
have
it.
to. Here's one thing I'll add into this. We will let you unglue, like you said, but we also have to make sure it doesn't get unhinged, right? Because it could spiral out. So that's where we have to keep control, but not over controlling.
Right.
Because there will be points where I have to say, "All right, babe," like if it starts getting really mad or a lot of frustration comes through, or any just things are outside of the motions. That's when we step in and say, "Take a deep breath," and then bring you back in so you could continue your process. But I just want to make sure that men just don't completely hold off. They're still meant to be there to keep some sort of container.
Yeah, I like the container.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I can handle the container.
I have a question for you guys with self-assured, motivated, confident women. You both you're strong and you're nurturing, but you're not controlling. Have you had to learn your way through that?
No, I always found it to be such a turn on when I saw someone who was just awesome and great, and and I think more guys are like that, to be honest.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah.
But I think I do. I really do. I think I don't know what seems to go wrong, because I know the average guys, my friends, would love you too. Mm-hmm. They would love to date and marry you. So really, I mean that. I'm not just saying it's because of you all.
Yeah.
Howard Stern said something. He was advising one of his staff members. I'll never forget it. The guy was a little underconfident, down on his luck, and he just really wanted to meet the love of his life. And he said he started dating this girl. And he's like, she's the one, but she's just not that into me. He said, let her see you at your best gift, your best talent. So him producing the Stern Show, running the board, doing all of it, the girl was like, oh my God. So you seeing
It's
Jake,
so hot.
right? Right.
Yeah.
It's so hot.
But when I thought of
Yeah.
it, I felt the same way
yeah.
with Maria. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whoa, it's
Yeah.
just, by the way, anyone who's got any kind of, is just great at anything,
Yeah.
I just think is awesome.
Same.
Anything,
Yeah.
any skill.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when you see them and they're passionate and they're into it and they're good at it, you just, whether it's motherhood, anything, I just go, oh my God. So I don't know. maybe that is just us, but I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of our guy friends
It comes down to like
would love this.
both men and women can understand this, but especially the men. Like if you want success, we know that success comes the pain of sacrifice, right? If we want an incredible woman, there's also sacrifices that we have. If we're gonna have
Yeah.
a woman that is powerful and amazing, and she's leading, and by example, we have to also learn how to not feel offended and not feel like we're less than, and we have
Yeah.
to hold our ground. And the way that I describe, I'm a very visual person, is, and I heard this from some readings way back, is going with the idea of like how Emily is, or women in general, like an ocean, feminine energy, as I should share, is that our goal is not to try to make it that ocean into a small little pond by controlling and saying, no, you only can be this much because I need to be the one in control.
Yeah.
Instead, is if there's no guidance to the ocean, then the ocean is just out of control. It's too vast, and that's where there's no guidance. So we're meant to, as men, for a powerful woman like you are vast oceans of energy. Our goal is not to control and overprotect. Our goal is to make the dams and the guides to flow that into a river. So you are still flowing exactly the way you should, but now there's direction. And we could also build boats so other people can go along that too. But our goal is to see you win and continue to be that, but not feel less than. And I feel like a lot of men, when they see a powerful woman like you, they want this because they see what really is what they want in themselves, which is success. And if they could have success outside of themselves, and you guys could have this together, but they don't know how hard it is when you actually have a woman like that. For me to see a woman that's 8 years older than me, making way more money at my point when I met her.
Sign me up.
And
that's awesome. Like, I don't understand. I don't get the wiring. Like, wait, what am I missing, guys?
so for someone way more successful, way better looking.
Yeah, nope, don't want any of that. Nope. Keep going.
All of that. Who wouldn't want that?
I don't
But
understand.
when I'm actually in that relationship and I'm trying to build my own dreams and I'm growing, there is a test where I'm like, am I going to start to feel inferior or superior to her? Am I going to try to be superior, or am I going to start feeling like I'm less than, and I'm going to turn into a passive man? And that's when the
But that's when you become the pillar.
So that's where I had to realize, to make this applicable, I had to realize that I'm continually growing every day. I don't waver when I get tested, so I know who I am to my core, and that's a lot of that comes through my faith as well, with the Holy Spirit within me. But being able to say, especially if she has a flare out and she gets extra masculine, or she starts to complain about this or that, is, Jake, when you're getting tested from your woman that has a lot of masculine energy coming, the last thing you want to do is start to turn into a pleaser and go less than her masculine energy, because then now you're starting to set the bar where
I just got chills.
she's more masculine, and then now you're going to get conditioned to you being that's how people turn into pleasers, right? They were once a leader,
And I think also the attraction goes away.
Oh, it does.
absolutely,
Because you're no longer attracted to that. Snat, in the booth, will you please make a note? Book title, It's Time to Hear from Stedman. I'm going to reach out to, no, really, I mean it. Like Oprah's guy, Stedman. Like, we need to hear from Stedman.
Yes.
that'd be good.
We got to hear from this guy.
Didn't he write a book?
He's written other books about self-help, and they're actually really good.
Yeah.
But no, we need to hear from Stedman.
Honey, you've been a Stedman.
Yeah, but he's Stedman, Maria. He's our god. Like, he's the GOAT. He's the Tom Brady of all this.
Okay.
I'm just,
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I'm Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what I am, but Stedman is like.
so to close the loop on this,
Please.
because we have so many other ways, is in those moments where I see her either being very successful or bringing this pain and this almost anger and frustration, the last thing I want to do is stoop low. So in my head, I'm like, Jake, don't be loving, but don't be a pleaser. And the thing that I've learned, and through many experts, I'm not a relationship expert, is you stay your ground and you match her to where she's at. If you try to be over masculine to her, you're actually going to flare her up and she's going to get more pissed because you're challenging it with that.
Yeah.
But if you stay stable, which is that pillar once again, and you don't go less than and you don't try to go above, then you're creating that trust that she can say, oh, he's not changing. I can let this lower and start to open up to him again.
This makes so much sense.
And so for me, I've just had to constantly remind, and people might be listening and be like, well, how does this make sense in my situation? Go listen to books, go do the work. Obviously we could give some more tactics, but it's that mindset of saying don't go less than and don't go above. Stand your ground and know who you are, and look at her at the eyes, and eventually she will let her masculine flare up, go down, and become feminine again.
Have you ever heard him talk about his process with you?
No.
That's so cool.
And it makes sense because he is my pillar. Like, you are my pillar. And having a man like him, who God created me to be in the work I do, I've been able to have so much more just confidence because I have that pillar. It's so beautiful, babe. I love how you explain it. And I'm like, oh, I know what you're doing. But number 2 on my list when I wrote at the Ocean Road, can lead me, parentheses, doesn't take my BS. And now I'm like, this all like,
oh my God, that's so funny.
I know.
But I wasn't normally like that, right? I was a passive man growing up, kid, because I was I was the youngest of 3. I was bullied a lot from outside people. I was picked on massively and beat up from my siblings. Like, I wasn't the jock of the school, like none of that. Like, I was a late bloomer in my puberty. Like I had to learn and adopt these things. And a lot of it, once again, we hear this name hundreds of times, but Tony Robbins, like, I've modeled what he's done and who he is today. I've modeled the way he's helped people. I've modeled his teachings, and I've taken that on, and I've taken a new identity. So it's not something, oh, Jake's this guy that, blah, blah, blah. Like, I've had to learn this. And I hope that really just equips people to know that you can change. I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50. Like, a growth mindset versus fixed mindset is just a choice of what you want.
So when she's hot and you're realizing you can't go above or below, can you give like one example for someone listening of how you keep even?
So going above would be accelerating the anger. So she's bringing frustration, whether it was something dumb I did or was it something outside of us. Going above is she's now bringing that to me, and I'm realizing, because this is the man thing that I had to realize, is that oftentimes when she brings emotions to me, they're not directed at me. But because we see things as success or failure a lot of times as men, I would see that if she's directing emotions at me that are coming from something else and not towards me, I would take offense to that. And so before, I would then take offense and be like, I would start to get mad. Well, what's going on here? Then now I'm starting to bring more masculine above her, but that's not mature masculine. That's immature. I'm starting to get frustrated. I'm starting to combat her. I'm starting to have an argument with her when it's not even relevant to my situation. So I have to make sure that I stay poised and realize the thing is I could ask myself is this directed to me, or is this directed about something else but is brought to me? And that difference is drastic, because we don't like to get offended as men because we feel like failures if we do. Mm-hmm. And that's just like the base core of it. And I would take offense a lot because I was a pleaser growing up. So if I didn't do something right, then I didn't feel worthy enough. I didn't feel like I could.
The shame kicks in, and now you're mad, you're shamed.
Correct. So I would then, that anger would come out, and that's where I would try to overtop her, which is just being immature masculine. So I look at her and I listen, I realize, oh shoot, okay, this is not directed to me. This is something that's coming up, and I need to listen, experience, whatnot. That keeps me poised. By not going less than is, once again, like I just said, is realizing like you don't need to please her and try to like be at her beckoning. Like, yes, still love her, but you don't need to go pamper her because now she's being, mighty and saying you need to do this and you need to do that. And maybe that was to me. I listen to her and I say, I can do that, but what's the real thing you want out of here? Instead of like, okay, babe, I'll go do that. Okay, I got you. And then now you're doing all these like pleasing things onward, and now you're more naturally feminine. So the real gist of it is just having that awareness of saying, is this to me, like she's bringing these emotions because it's something I did, or it's something that she needs to express so I don't take offense? And then am I now doing pleasing acts versus loving acts, right? Everyone loves someone that is pleasing, but the women really don't like pleasers. So you can do pleasing things. You can do things to make her feel good.
I think they like them. They don't love them.
Good point.
Yeah.
Like I could be pleasing and love and rub her feet because she loves that.
I did.
But if I'm only doing that to be a pleaser because I'm trying to make her feel loved by always pleasing her in that sense, by being a pleaser, she will start to realize that this guy is kind of being a beta, and I'm not seeing the strong masculine man I once want. Subtle differences.
Whoa.
Sheesh.
Subtle. It's subtle. And
let's go to the pink laptop man for comment.
No comment. I did everything.
Even a
I don't know.
player?
Alphas, betas. It's all stuff is just, I always never know what I can say today because, right, everything is like so
Honey.
charged.
You can say whatever you want.
You can.
I guess, I don't know. I've seen where I think it comes down to really being best friends and partners. And I was, and you're a basketball player, right? So I don't know what your game was. I was defense. Like, that's all. I didn't have an outside shot. I wasn't fast.
You'd pass me the ball.
Exactly.
Pass me the ball.
And by the way, not even that great about it, but I would defend, and that would be like, you'd put me on the lead scorer and I would stay on him, and instead of getting 30, he'd get 20. But my point is, I always learned team sports, also had the sibling issues you did. So I always learned how to be a team player. So we're a team. And there's times where I just know if, Maria is, let's bring it to basketball. So I'm a sports guy. So if Maria's LeBron, and she's got the hot hand and she's playing 40 minutes, you know what I mean? Like, and she's the one who's, that there's just a lot more on her, then I'm willing to say, hey, no, you're not getting up with the baby. You're not getting up with the dogs, or don't worry about that. Now what's happening is because now Maria's home with the baby. We have to now go the other way, but we're a team. So it's like, hey, honey, now I got to like work 3 or 4 different things, in outside. So I can't now be doing all that other stuff I did before. So you have to pick up the slack, and she does. So, but because we're friends and we're partners and we trust each other. So there's a time where one partner's going to have more, get more attention, have more of the needs that need to be met. But then it's the job of that partner to say, hey, if it flips the other way, hey, we got to go the other way. Maria's dad, it was his whole life. The mom cooked and cleaned and watched his sugar and took care of him. And then when she got sick, the guy like picked up cooking. Now he's like a master chef to take care of her. But it was a great,
And that's because that came out of love,
Of
not
course.
because he was trying to please.
well, yeah, but I think it's your best friend and you love that person. Like
Yeah.
we're partners, we're a team. Like this is us. Why am I insecure? You're my teammate. I want to see you.
Yeah.
We're a team. So our team goes to the Super Bowl when you do great, Jake, or Emily, you do great, or Maria does great. Like, it doesn't matter who, we're a team. And so I never understood that. By the way, I've seen it with parents and kids too out here, which is so bizarre. Kids your age, Jake, or your age, and the parents like jealous. And I'm like, what world am I living in? I don't understand, but I don't understand with relationships either. But it's taking your ego out and saying, hey, you know what? Like, I gotta step back right now. This one's got all this on her. And then it's times with me, like I said to Maria, I have been up every 2 hours. We've had senior dogs who are handicapped. We've had up to 6 forever because we didn't have children.
Yeah.
And Maria, for every 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I was up with them. With diarrhea or this, or they had diapers, or they couldn't eat. So like I said to her, so with the baby, Maria, to me, to be sleeping in the room with the baby right now, where she's an infant, it's no big deal. I've been doing it forever. I said, but for you, that's gonna be such a drain. And then to come and host the show and be on and deal with all these people. I'm in the background. I can move and groove. You know what I mean? I can be messy. I can be.
Beautiful.
But I've said to you, Maria, if roles reverse, you have to be ready.
Yep.
And that's when Maria's like, no, I'm going to keep working.
I used to joke. I'm like, I'll be good.
Yeah.
No.
So anyway, that's what's on the basic, and I always said the regular guy level, on like the base level, that's how I viewed it. We're best friends. We're a team. And that's it. So it's like, if one does great, that's great for the team. It's great for everyone.
I want to add just one quick thing on, just so, because some people could get this mistaken, which is you described roles, right? And you described it great. I just want to make sure you described roles that are typically either the man does or the woman does, and how they could flips. Roles are different than the energy. Feminine, masculine energy is different. Even if you're caretaking in a quote unquote woman role, doing baby work and all that, you could still be in your masculine.
Yeah.
Because you're taking control and you're leading. So I want to make sure that's very clear that this is not the roles as to be feminine. You have to always do the woman role of being at the home household and all of that. It's the energy is different from that. So I just want to make that very clear.
That's
great point.
So good.
All right, we're going to leave that right there. We're going to come back tomorrow for the rest of this conversation. Plus, we're going to talk all about growth and how you can outgrow relationships and what that looks like and how to deal with that coming up tomorrow. In the meantime, be nice people, make good choices, and be present.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or mariamenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.